Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, January 24th, 2023, and we get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and to support each of you. Our topic today, which should be shared here on your screen, is an important one, which is referring to white label partner best practices. So let's take a step back. What it is that we do, you and I, we do together are three things to help small businesses. Number one, we help them improve their financial literacy. Number two, we help them build lender compliant loan packages. And number three, we help them become credible enough on paper to get approved for a minimum of $100,000, guaranteed in writing. With that, we have two different types of distribution partners. We have affiliates, free and easy, right? Sign up, get a free landing page, refer people to your landing page, get paid, nothing else you need to do. And then we have our topic of today, our white label partners. White label partners are more sophisticated typically than our affiliates. They're more involved. They're not dabblers. They're running $1 million business. So what we wanted to do today is briefly cover some of the basics, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with, but then get into some of the best practices. We've spent some time talking to a number of you, some of our top performers like Warren and others, to ask, what is it that you're doing to just knock the ball out of the park? How are you so successful, Warren? And so based upon talking to some of our top white label partners, we've assembled this list, which we'll get to in a moment. All right, so let's start with the basics. If you are a white label partner, I'll say that we did, I'll at least say we should have sent you an onboarding email. If you don't have that onboarding email, let us know, because we'll resend it to you. It has important foundational information. And maybe the verb review isn't correct. It's almost study it, know it. Sometimes people will skim things. And again, this should be $1 million business together if you're a white label partner on an annual basis. We need to not skim, but read, assimilate, and implement. So number one, without a doubt, of the basics is make sure that you're familiar with what's in the white label partner onboarding email. And if you want us to resend it to you, let us know. We'll have our contact information as normal at the bottom of the page. So that would be number one. Secondly, for each of you who are a white label partner, we set up a Dropbox and we populated in your Dropbox a number of documents. Press releases, flyers, editable agreements. You should be familiar with those items. If you don't have access to your white label partner Dropbox, let us know and we'll re-invite you. Typically, it's real easy, right? Just log into your Dropbox account, and as long as you're logging into the same Dropbox with the same email that we're using for you, just by logging into your Dropbox, you should see a folder that we've created that's shared. But if you need help with that, of course, let us know. Basic rule, I guess, or guidance number three is, make sure we're on the same page. When you signed up as a white label partner, you made certain promises and commitments to us. We made certain promises and commitments to you. One of which, not the only of which, but one of which is, all right, let's take it slow and easy. Let's give it a 30-day period to kind of get our legs underneath us, get open for business, and then start enrolling at least 2 clients a week. We simply do not want white label partners that are dabblers. We need those that are actively involved. Just like if you went out and bought a Domino's pizza franchise, they don't want someone that's going to buy a franchise and be open Monday, Wednesdays, and every other Saturdays, right? This doesn't have to be a full-time commitment to be a white label partner. I'm not saying that at all, but there needs to be enough activity that warrants the relationship. And that is specifically outlined in the agreement as we need to be enrolling 2 clients a week. That is not difficult to do. There's almost an infinite number of small businesses that want to need capital. So just be aware of that. because ultimately, if you're helping 2 clients a week, you should be bringing in gross income, 25,000 a week, 100,000 a month, 7 figures annually. And we're not going to dig into that whole economic model right now. We've had other trainings, but the point is, it's a big deal. So you can sign up as a white label partner. We don't charge anything up front. Let's get involved. Let's work together. We split the income in general 50-50. You can't beat it, but it does require your involvement. And then ultimately, the last basic item is we need to get you open for business. And we're going to define that as you're ready to sign up clients. So as covered in the onboarding email and as covered or is made available in the white label partner Dropbox, again, we provided you an editable client agreement. Therefore, you need to edit that with your information, your pricing, make any changes to the terms and conditions that you desire to. And now you're ready to start signing up clients. Every once in a while, I'll talk to a white label partner that hasn't done this. And it's like, well, you're not open for business. It's horrible, horrible. So that should be our first focus. So those are the basics. I don't think I gave you really any new information there. That's just a reiteration of what hopefully you knew, and now you know. Any questions on the basics from anyone before we move into the best practices, which is really our topic for today? So we'll always just submit via Q&A, question and answer in Zoom. It's like a chat function. Type in if you have any comments, questions, concerns on the basics. Okay, I think we're all on the same page, which I thought we probably would be. So sorry if I wasted your time on that. Now let's move down to the best practices. We have a number of those. The first of which is to have a landing page. So as I mentioned before, all of our affiliates get a free landing page. So you might say, well, if an affiliate gets a free landing page, why doesn't a white label partner? Well, white label partners aren't standardized, right? Because white label partners are going out to the marketplace under their branding. The terms and conditions is different for each white label partner and so forth. So it needs to be specific to you. It can't be general like our affiliates. So do you have to have a landing page? No, you don't have to. Is it a best practice? It is. It's actually number 1 here on the list. What that allows you to do is just whatever promotional campaigns you're having, you're just driving your prospects to your landing page, driving them. Now, if you want to talk to them, you can. We always refer back to Jeff, good old Jeff Sokol, our record holder so far. And that record looks to be broken this month. We'll see. But Jeff, in 1 month, enrolled over 400 clients. We've talked about this many times. He didn't talk to any of them, and I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to your prospects, but he didn't talk to any of the clients before they signed up. He just simply drove them into his landing page. So a landing page is great because it's that next step. It's the call to action where you drive your prospects to. And then also, ideally, you'll have your terms and conditions on it. So that way clients can enroll easily. You don't have to go send them an Adobe or DocuSign or something else. They can just sign up right on your page. And then best practice, and Jeff did this as well, is build in a drip campaign. Because normally on a landing page, on the first page, you'll just collect very basic information, usually the prospect's name, email, phone. That's it. That's it. And then they go to step 2. So step 1, normally name, email, phone. And again, we can create this for you. You can create your own, or you can skip it altogether, but it is best practice. So the point is name, email, phone on step 1. What if someone does that, but they don't go to the next step and agree to the terms and conditions? Well, what would be really valuable is to have a drip campaign, which means automated emails and or texts that go out automatically. It's built into a sequence that goes out to those individuals to continue to encourage them to come back and fill out the terms and conditions. That's frankly how one of the reasons Jeff had such high numbers. Scott Stroud, our chief marketing officer, built Jeff's landing page whereby it had the drip campaign. And so by having the landing page with the terms and conditions plus the drip campaign for those that didn't sign, we ended up with about a 53-54% conversion ratio on cold leads. That's darn good. And again, if you want us to develop a landing page, we can. You can email us, but I'm not pushing you towards having Scott, our Chief Marketing Officer, develop this for you. But if you don't have a landing page, it's a disadvantage. So will it keep you from being successful? No, I'm not saying that at all. But does it make sense to have that? Yes. Even if you're not really basing your client or your lead development online, it's still good to have a place to drive people to. All right, any questions on the landing page before we move on to the next? Okay, I think we're good so far. Secondly, now this is not required because, again, we have an agreement together, right? There's a white label partner agreement. So we made promises to you, you made promises to us, one of which is to enroll at least 2 clients a week. We've covered that. So this one is not a requirement, but we do encourage it. It's a best practice, is let's have weekly calls. Schedule here. What we'll do is we'll review the status of every client, make sure that they're progressing to funding or been funded, or to review how much they've been funded, make sure all the clients are 100% satisfied, address any questions or concerns. When we do this, we can have a really good working relationship. What doesn't work well is just an on-demand call demanding status of every client, because we're not prepared for it and we may be doing something else. But if we have normal weekly calls, then it works really well. Now, that doesn't mean that if an issue comes up between the weekly calls, we can't address it. I'm not saying that, but there's nothing more horrible than getting a call out of the blue during the day. Hey, I'd like to review every one of my 56 clients right now. Well, we're not ready for that. We didn't block time aside. So weekly accountability calls are great. So what's going to happen? We're going to review the status of each client that's submitted, but also we're going to ask you, are you on track? Do you have 2 clients enrolled this week? Did you last week? If not to cause harm or punishment, but what do we need to do to help you be compliant? So that would be best practice number 2, scheduling weekly calls. And we have a different link notice for that. Similar to that, we also recommend having a written monthly plan. If you were to go to the CEO, because you're the CEO of your business, right? I don't know if you see it that way or not, but you are the CEO of your business. And this should be, our relationship together should be $1 million annual business. So I don't know that people that run $1 million businesses run it informally. You should have a written monthly plan. And that would include, okay, how much money do I plan to make? How many people do I need to help to make that amount of money? Who's my target audience I want to be reaching out to this month? How am I going to reach them? We need to have a plan. Now, some of you are fortunate enough, you have like an internal prospect list, and that's great. Others of you are plugging into chambers of commerce and trade associations. So I'm not restricting what this is, but I think that if you're not even taking the time to create a monthly plan, then it's probably unlikely that you're going to be successful because you're winging it. Next, similar to that, let's say that you've drank the Kool-Aid, right? So I'm all aboard. I want to help small businesses. I want to make $25,000 a week as a white label partner, but oh my gosh, I don't have any leads. Because we all know there's a formula, right? We don't need to really worry about making money. Making money will happen. Because if we have leads, we can generate clients, and if we have clients, we can generate income, right? So the income is the output. We need to have leads. If you don't have enough leads, you can get leads lots of different ways. We've talked about going out and teaching at the library, free leads from what's called Data Axle, Sales Genie, Reference USA. Well, we've had many different trainings on leads. But one place to get free leads is from Synergy Direct Solutions. Here, we don't have any relationship with them. I understand the owner's name is Kyle. I've never talked to Kyle. Kyle doesn't give us kickbacks if you go to him, but Kyle has a program with Synergy Direct Solution that will provide you free leads. And we've seen these leads flow through, and these are strong leads. These are qualified leads. These are leads that you're getting a great data set on. And then they'll also provide what's called a VA, a virtual assistant, to call those leads and drive them to your landing page, as we discussed above. So do you need to do this? No, it's just one of our best practices. But if you don't have adequate flow, you need to do something to fix that, right? Just like, again, if we own Domino's Pizza and we weren't selling enough pizzas to be profitable, we weren't selling enough pizzas to be compliant with our franchisor or franchisee agreement, we need to do something different. And this is one thing you might want to consider that could help. We've seen it work with others. Another option which ties into lead flow is getting referrals from people. Well, what does that mean? So these are other people that are thinking about you, they're knowledgeable of your offering, and they're economically motivated to refer to you. So you're saying, well, Tom, you mean like a sales team? Well, kind of, but it could be informal. They don't need to be W-2 employees. You can create a formal affiliate program like we've talked about before, or something less formal. But it just makes sense. There's so many people, and I think this is what Warren is doing. One of the things that Warren's doing, and Warren, you can tell me if it's true or not, he's reaching out to bookkeepers, to accountants, to small business attorneys, website developers. He understands this whole entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so he knows that there's other business-to-business providers that have clients that might need funding, but also are interfacing with small businesses. And so Warren gets this steady feed of referrals from these other parties because they have top of mind awareness of Warren's proposition, and Warren pays them. So that makes sense. All right, and then the last best practice we're going to discuss today is I encourage you to realize that there are some, we'll call them additional revenue streams. So in addition to making what we would anticipate as $12,500 per client enrolled as a white label partner, there's extra money available for those that need extra help. And that falls into really two specific buckets. The first of which is the credit sweep. So if you have a client that could benefit from the free 60-day credit sweep, you can be set up to be a white label partner on that platform as well. It is a separate enrollment, and it doesn't cost anything to be set up as a white label partner on the credit sweep. But this puts about an extra $1,000 in your pocket for each client that we're helping with the credit program. So is that going to be get rich quick? No, but let's go back to our math. So if we know that we need to be helping 2 clients per week, let's round that off and call that 8 a month, 4 weeks in a month. So how many clients on average do you think, what percentage will have credit issues? I don't know, it depends upon how you're marketing. Let's just say half of them have credit issues. So that's 4. 4 times 1,000 is an extra 4,000 going into your pocket each month. I know a lot of you are very financially successful, but just if you don't need the 4,000, just set it aside, put it in your retirement account. That's going to grow by what, about 50,000 a year? Do that for 10 years, and now you got $500,000 more in your retirement, and you're helping people, of course, at the same time. So the credit sweep is a revenue stream if you want to get plugged in. If you want to, just email us and let us know. The bigger revenue stream is the collateral support program. Now, you might notice a pattern, and so I want to first diffuse. So what you don't want to go into this saying, oh, well, this is just about upselling clients. Absolutely not. We don't want to upsell any clients, but we do need to help clients become credible enough to get funding, right? We said that at the beginning of the call. There's 3 things we do. We help small businesses improve their financial literacy, build lender compliant loan packages, and become compliant enough on paper to get qualified for at least 100,000. So that falls into the 3 C's: credit, capacity, collateral. Well, credit was the first sub bullet we just discussed, and now we're talking about collateral. So you're going to run into some small business owners who do not have adequate collateral, or in some cases, they don't have adequate liquidity. Does that keep them from getting funding? No, because we can help them with that with the collateral support program. Puts an extra $5,000 in your pocket. Let's do the math again. So if we're compliant and we're helping 2 clients a week, we'll call it 8 a month. How many of them do you think will have a collateral shortfall? And it depends who you're marketing to and how you market, but let's just assume half do. So 4 a month do. So if you made an extra 5,000 times 4, which is $20,000, would that help your bottom line? Again, I know a lot of you are doing really well, that an extra 20,000 a month you could scoff at, but set that aside if you need to. Put that into your retirement. 20,000 a month times 12, that's about $250,000 a year that you could be setting aside, putting into your retirement, your long-term savings. Do that for 10 years and that's 2.5 million. So again, I know most of you, like us, we're not motivated by money. We're motivated by helping clients get funding. But we can't ignore the fact that some clients need help in improving their credibility. And you can either recognize income from that or not. I mean, it's up to you. To me, it's kind of foolish not to. So with that being said, of course, you can email us or call us. Email's best. Let me shrink this down and let's open it up for any questions, comments, concerns any of you have regarding the best practices. Okay, yeah, so as Aziz is asking, so as a white label partner, remember, as a white label partner, you're getting the clients under contract. Affiliates just refer into us. So don't fall into the trap of being a white label partner and just referring people to us. That's not what white label partners do. They get them under contract, regardless if they have a landing page or not. So it's important. Now, you can wear both hats. You can be an affiliate and a white label partner, and then decide how you want to feed in, how you want to process each lead that you have, each prospect. But so you can wear both hats, but a client must come through one of the 2 channels. What we're talking about today is a bit more complicated, a bit more involving, and this is a great fit for our white label partners. People that want it simple and easy, they just become affiliates. Who has any other questions on what we've covered today? We've covered some basics of being a white label partner, but additionally, we covered, I think, some important best practices. And I want to thank Alfred and Andrea, Warren, Sonia, those of you that helped contribute to this. All right, so Warren says he is launching his campaign this week. He's got 1,000 purchase leads. That is excellent. Yep. And so that's an option. You can go out and buy leads if you want. You can get free leads from like Synergy Direct. Here we go. There's lots of different places to come up with leads, and we've had separate training, but that's great, Warren. So let's use Warren as an example. So I would recommend that Warren be putting together his February plan, his monthly plan, because we talked about having a monthly plan. So Warren's plan would be that his activity is he's going to reach out to these 1,000 purchase leads. So in his plan, he would outline how is he going to reach out to them. Is he going to call them? Is he going to email them? Is he going to text them? Some combination of the 2. What's the message that he's going to communicate? What's the call to action? Is he going to drive them to his landing page or something else? The target audience in his case is identified. It's those 1,000 purchase leads. What's his goal? And we want to have what's called SMART goals: specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, timeline. In other words, what's his goal? So if he has 1,000, and these frankly are cold leads, which is fine, but they're small business owners. Maybe his goal is to convert 5% of them in the month of February. Well, that's 50 new clients, right? 50 new clients at 12,500. This is for 2 per week is a hell of a good week. So Warren has a plan for February. Do each of the rest of you have a plan for February? And I know there's some time left in January, but now we're at the point now, we're about a week before the end of January. We need to be putting together our plan for February. We certainly can reflect on how did January go for us. Were we compliant? Did we enroll at least 2 clients a week? Did we make the money we wanted to make? But it's time now to put together our February plan. And that's what I'm going to be asking about. When you schedule our weekly calls we'll sit down and talk about, okay, do we have a plan for February? How's January going? How's your clients that's in the system? Are we doing everything we can? Constance, who's not on the Zoom this morning, unfortunately, she and I had her weekly call yesterday. And she's a relatively new white label partner. But if I recall correctly, she's fed in, I think it's 11 clients so far. And so literally that's what we did. We went through every one of those 11 clients. Let's talk about where they're at, what's needed, what do we need to do, whether it be something that she needs to do for them or we need to do for them. And so that's great. So, now all 11 clients, I believe, are on track to get funding, hopefully, but by the end of this month. So have a plan. Let's discuss it. Let's hold ourselves accountable, hold us accountable for what we promised to do for you. But it's really important that you do what you promised to do. All right, so Timothy has a question. So he's asking, what happens when a white label partner defaults? Well, Timothy, we don't want any white label partners to default. We want to work with them to be successful. But if they do default, then what happens is we package them up into a portfolio and we sell those. And we're going to be actually selling a number of those portfolios here soon. So we'll be looking at white label partners this month in January that did not perform. We'll package them into a portfolio and then we sell those to debt buyers. And then debt buyers normally will seek to liquidate that accounts receivable, usually through litigation. But we don't really want to focus on the negative. We want to focus on the positive. My goodness, Timothy and everyone else, we have a great opportunity to go out and help a lot of people, make a lot of money, make a difference, have a positive economic impact in so many people's lives. Anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? All right, so Susan says, well, wait a second. We say that there's no upfront cost for the Access to Capital program, and then there's the credit sweep or the collateral support. Well, these are not upfront costs for Access to Capital. These are separate resources that clients may or may not need, and they may or may not want to use. They're not required. If they have crappy credit, they're not required to use the free credit sweep. They don't have to. If they have a collateral shortfall, they don't have to use the collateral support program. It's not required. But we would be foolish. I think you and I, Susan, would be foolish to not help people get qualified for funding for two reasons. That's what we're contractually saying that we will do. So we need to follow a contract. But also, if that's a barrier from them getting funding, we probably need to help them do those things to get it resolved. Now, if they have a better plan, they can follow their own plan. They're not required. But these are not some sort of bait and switch, upsell, money makers for us. These are resources to help with the 3 C's, just like you and I learned in school. If you want to borrow money, you have to be conscious of your credit, your collateral, and your capacity. What you and I do is help people that have deficiencies in those areas. That's the name of the game. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns that we need to cover today? All right, well, we'll be back tomorrow. No Zoom on Thursday, but we'll be back tomorrow. So see you tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Bye.